Have you ever felt off, like something inside of you just isn't right, but you can't quite explain why? Yeah, that's me too sometimes. But what if it isn't your circumstances, you guys? But what if it's been something that you've been putting inside your mind, like in your heart? Welcome to my channel. My name is Heather Jennings. I am a professional mental health life coach and faith-based wellness coach. And here we talk about faith, mindset, and how to truly walk with God in everyday life. And today we're going to talk about an important verse when it comes to your emotional and spiritual health. So Proverbs 4:23 says, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. What is the heart, right? When the Bible is talking about the heart, it doesn't just mean your emotions, it's your inner world. It's like what's going on in your thoughts, your belief system, your desires, your identity. So the verse is saying, pay attention to what is going on inside of you, because your outer life will always reflect your inner life. Why guard it? To guard something means to protect it intentionally. Not everything deserves access to your heart. Not every thought is truth. Not every voice should be trusted. Not every situation should shape you. And this is where so many of us struggle, I think. We're careful with our time and we're careful with our money, but we're not always careful with what we allow into our hearts. Why does it matter so much? I don't know. This verse tells us why. And I think it's important to think about it because it determines the course of our life. And I think this verse, if it can be a core verse that we memorize or commit to memory when we make decisions or have belief systems or we work out of our identity, we can think about this verse and really try to align it with what scripture is talking about. Because it determines the course of our life, our heart is the source. So if your heart is filled with fear, your life will reflect anxiety. Lies, if your life or your heart is full of lies, your life will reflect confusion. And truth, your life will begin to reflect peace. Everything flows from your heart. I think of a practical application for myself. It's like, what does it actually look like to guard my heart? It can be simple and it doesn't have to be like super confusing. But for me, it's paying attention to what I'm feeding my mind. It's pausing and asking myself, is this thought true? Because I think I like to, some of you may not know this about me, but I do like to consume crime podcasts. And sometimes that can get so inside my head and my heart that it brings me to a place of fear. And then it keeps me from doing things. Sometimes you got to look at it from a safety standpoint, but I don't want my mind to always be thinking about those things. And so I've had to cut way back on my crime podcasts and what types of crime podcasts there are, because there's some that are like really intense. And then there's just some that are covering a story that's on the news. And I do enjoy listening to those because I think for me, I was telling a friend the other day that for me, it actually helps me to prepare and like, what would I do in that situation or something like that. So, and sometimes it just helps me to prepare. But anyway, I just think, is this thought true? So I kind of set these emotional boundaries where needed. And then spending time with God, like being in the word, realigns my heart with truth guarding. So I encourage you to do the same thing. And I think just remember that your heart isn't about being closed off or guarded in a sense where you're not open to friendships or people or even vulnerabilities. It's about protecting what God is doing inside of you, and it's protecting your mind. So I don't know, just a thought for today. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or just off lately, this might be your invitation to come back to your heart, to slow down, to check what's been going on and realign with truth. Because when your heart is grounded in truth, your life begins to follow. If this encouraged you guys, I so appreciate that. Would you please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this, where we talk about faith and mindset and walking closely with God. And if this spoke to you, I would love to hear in the comment section down below, what is one thing you're choosing to guard your heart from this week? I'm so glad you're here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.